We should probably do, I guess, Sixers a little too.
Oh, do we have to?
Well, no, we don't.
We can just talk about generally.
Yeah,
like the end, maybe.
Just because of the odds.
Yeah, I gotta pull out the beat. They're so specific these days.
It's gonna be a long next few days.
Right.
What's crazy is afterwards there's like nothingness. Well, there's Sixers, but that'll be more fun.
Yeah.
This is fun too, but
This is great, but it's tiring.
more work. Well, you figure again after tonight, tomorrow, Friday.
Dude, I know. Trust me. Bijan our bus. For
I think
our,
I might still get up and work
Bijan
out.
our bus for our late night pod
I
as
know.
well.
I think I still might do the workout tomorrow morning. Still going to reset my
Look at
day,
you.
even if I'm drunk the night before.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Let's do it. Hello. How's everyone doing? All right, Ray roll.
I'm ready.
Been ready. Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast, the Bet Parks Picks Pod, presented by the Bet Parks Sportsbook and Casino app and Elliott Shore Parks.
What's up?
It feels like it's been 6 years since we started talking about the draft. I feel like I've spent the last month straight of my life saying the name Bijan Robinson. It's basically like since Marcus Mariota in 2014, 15,
Yeah.
whatever that was. This is the most we've talked about one dude heading into a draft. We're almost
Lots
there.
of slamming of the table.
We're
there.
almost there. We did it. It's table slamming time.
Yeah, it
Sorry,
is.
everybody.
So-
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Table slamming time.
Here's what I'll
Where
say.
we're at.
Here's
Just
what,
what it is.
here's what I'll say.
Facts.
I am unapologetically obsessed with Bijan Robinson.
Oh, buddy.
You know, like
I love how you've like not just talked yourself into it, like have talked yourself / thought yourself into like overboard.
yeah,
Not just the point where you want them to take him. You think he's actually going to like you are fully
I think they're going to take him.
both
Yeah.
feet jumping off into the Bijan waters.
Here's what I'll say to all the other beat writers and like media members that are like, don't talk about it. I will not stop talking until he is gone. I will not stop talking about it, right? Like, I think it's the right pick. I think there's a chance they do it. I think a lot of the narratives around the pick are just flat out wrong. And whenever there is, you know, injustice is a strong word, but whenever there is
Yes.
injustice happening,
Okay.
I will not remain silent about
That's
it. Like,
what-
the idea that they don't
How
prioritize.
brave.
Thank you.
The
Well,
courage.
My
the
chance, you know?
courage that's being shown on this podcast.
Exactly,
right now
yes.
is unparalleled.
Like, you know, oh, they do a running back by committee. Sirianni's never done a running back by committee. He's always had a clear number one running back. You can find running backs later in the draft. They've drafted one running back after the third round in franchise history with multiple 1,000-yard seasons. They've drafted 3 running backs after the second round with multiple 1,000-yard season out of the 69 running backs they've drafted. They don't find running backs later in the draft. They do prioritize number one running backs. It's not a luxury pick. It is a need. It's the correct pick. He's the best player on the board. And this is what I'll be yelling and talking about up until tomorrow night.
It's good. Well, he might not be the best player on the board if Jalen Carter falls, but I know what you're saying.
Well, what's interesting about the Jalen Carter thing is if he falls to 10, are you worried? Like, I mean, you have to trust your own homework if you're the
I
Eagles.
just think you have to trust your own homework, trust meeting the guy, trust all the research you've done on him and as the person. And all
I don't
that.
think he will fall to 10.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I really don't. But look, I might I get it, but at the same time, not that concerned. I saw Warren Sapp fall.
Nice.
Warren Sapp. I
Yeah.
saw Warren Sapp.
What did he fall for?
Like weed.
Okay.
I think it was something like that. And I know that. I mean, Randy
A
Moss.
gas mask situation?
Randy Moss fell. Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
There's so many guys who
100%.
fall for
Yeah.
dumb reasons. And it's not necessarily dumb reasons.
Well, we don't know. Like,
Right,
yeah.
we don't know. My point is people fall all the time for off the field stuff
Yep.
that doesn't end up impacting their NFL career. So, look, I'm with you. I don't think he's going to fall. I'm just pushing back on your Bijan will automatically be the best player on the board at 10.
Well, I thought what was interesting was, and I apologize if I'm wrong about this, I think it was Todd McShay that wrote this, but
The Seattle thing.
the Seattle
I
thing,
think Seattle's not as interested as everyone thinks.
but also somebody else wrote, and I'm pretty sure it was Todd McShay, that he's hearing conflicting reports on whether the Eagles would take Jalen Carter.
Wow.
So,
Can we be honest right now? Who knows any? All right.
yeah, it's silly
This has
season.
been, and to your point, you said in the last pod, and you said in your, it's over 10 years now you've covered the
It's
Eagles.
the most unpredictable draft I've ever been a
Yeah,
part of.
and the funny thing is like everyone's saying that. Even Rappaport said it
Yeah.
yesterday. He's like, after the first pick, he's like, who the hell knows what's going to happen? Like,
Yeah.
no one knows. Like,
It could be a defensive guy. I mean, it could be Look,
Be a
if it was Paris
quarterback.
Johnson, would it completely shock me?
No.
Like it'd be close, but it wouldn't.
It feels like nothing.
Right.
Nothing should shock anyone this year because it is such a weird, off the.
Well, think about
beaten
this.
path
You know,
type
this
of
is
year.
this is the Bet Parks pod. Like the Will Levis rumor spreads yesterday that someone posts on Reddit that Will Levis has been telling people that he's going to go number 1 overall, and his odds just absolutely,
He was the favorite.
right. But that to me speaks to the fact that everyone,
Nonsense. That's
yes.
happening.
Well,
Yes.
and also just that no one has a really firm idea as to what is going to happen. Like in most years, so I think Bryce Young is definitely going number 1.
I do too.
But when Trevor Lawrence, for example, everybody knew without
It's
question.
100%.
Yes. So I think the fact that Will Levis could even impact odds like that off a Reddit post tells me that people are unsure of what is
It's
going
a
to happen.
great point.
And that's the
Well,
other.
remember back in the day, it used to be like they used to sign the guy before the draft even started.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Remember that used to
Oh,
happen? They'd be
wow.
like, we're taking Jake Long,
And they would
we've
sign
already
him, yeah.
signed him to an 8-year, $50
What a
million
time
contract.
that was.
Right?
Good time
It
to
was
be a
before
rookie back then.
slotting
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah, anyway,
But that's it. The last thing before we get into what we're going to talk about today is that's why when people tell you they know what the Eagles are not going to do, they are wrong. They are wrong. The Eagles don't even know what they're going to do. The Eagles certainly have an idea of what they
they're going
want
to play
to
the
do.
board.
They have guys that they know, like we will take this guy off our board. But you cannot tell me, you can't sit here and tell me, not you, but the various
It's a very
wrong
aggressive
people
view
out
there,
there.
yes.
Yeah, the royal you.
I'm a big Royal U guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like nobody can tell me that they know what the Eagles are going to do. Nobody.
I agree with you. And look, I think that to the point, yes, the Eagles don't value running backs that high and all that, but this is a special circumstance with the way the board falls and this particular player and all that I agree. I think I wouldn't be, I'd be surprised if they take Bijan, especially at 10. If they trade back, I'll start
I
like,
would be.
I know. You
Yeah.
think it's going to happen. I'm just saying I would be surprised. Like I would put it at like 5% that I think it's going to
Okay, so
happen.
I'm at like 15%.
Okay.
At
right.
10. At 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I just don't think it's gonna happen, but I wouldn't be totally shocked. I think there are a lot of people out there who would be completely and totally shocked if it actually does happen. With that in mind, I think this is Bet Parks pick spot.
It is.
Let's put some odds on this. Let's make our own odds.
Well, so I'm excited you're doing this with me because I feel like sometimes when I try to do the odds, I'm not great.
You're
at
way
coming.
off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think a good way to do this maybe would be I'll tell you the name.
Okay.
You say the odd, and then we'll debate about adjusting.
Oh, I
it.
like this. Okay, good.
Right. So you
Good.
set the floor or whatever, and then we'll discuss.
And
from
now,
there.
just for people to understand, like all these odds will be plus, like because
Correct. Yes. There will
this
be
is
no
a-
favorite.
there will be no favorite. There'll be a favorite. It's just not a minus
sorry,
favorite.
no
right?
minus favorite. Right.
Because like if you look at the odds for any player to go to any team, it's always going to be plus.
Right. Like I almost think none of these guys should be below plus 200.
Plus 200 was going to be my least.
That's
There we
what-
go.
yeah.
Look at us.
All right.
Look at us.
So number one.
And plus 200, honestly, I might not even have plus 200. We're going to find out.
Well, this first one's an interesting one because I feel like of all the guys we've talked about at 10, we probably have not discussed him enough, but I do think there's a real chance that they end up with him. What would you say for Bijan Robinson?
I thought you were going like Christian Gonzalez or
Yeah.
something like you.
That was the joke, yeah.
Clearly the joke.
Yeah.
Well executed.
Thank
buddy.
you.
That was very good.
As I went, I felt it was going well.
You really got. You know what? This joke's gonna land.
Yeah, midway through, I could tell you were really hook, line,
This is
sinker.
good. This is
for
gonna,
it.
this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
I would put Bijan at plus 600.
Okay, and also I think we should clarify. This is not at number 10. This is who the first player they
First
pick
player
is.
they pick is.
Okay, so here's whatever. I mean, obviously, I think that's a little high, and here's why. Just because I think if they trade back, he's the prime trade back target.
Uh-huh.
So if we sit here and think there's, I don't know, a 30% chance they trade back, I think if they trade back, the chance the pick is Bijan is like, I don't know, 70%.
Whoa, buddy.
Right? I mean,
I don't know, not necessarily.
Yeah, you're right. There could be other guys, but it just
and
feels.
someone else could take him if you trade back
True.
to 16 and you go 14.
All right, so
you know?
plus 600. I'll be interested to
You
see
want to
where.
go plus 500? Would that make you feel better about it?
Yeah, it would.
Let's go plus 500.
All right, plus 500. And that's taking into account, obviously, trade backs. All right, Peter Skoronsky.
Plus
I have a number in my head for this.
400.
Oh, I'm like plus 1,000.
Oh, you don't think it's going to happen?
I do not think they're
good.
going to
I like
draft
that.
Peter
So let's
Skoronsky.
split the difference. Let's say plus 750.
He checks no boxes for them. None. He doesn't check the athletic box. He doesn't check the play right away box. He does check versatility.
Well, again, I do think, and again, I do not think they're going to draft Skoronsky. And I've been very with you. Him and Luke Van Ness are my top two. Don't want them to get
Mhm.
of the guys that are talked about going there. But I think if they take him, it means he's the starting card. So, like,
Interesting.
I don't think, you know what I mean? I think if they use the 10th pick on Peter Skoronski, it means that they don't feel 100% about Jurgens playing guard, and Peter Skoronski is going to be your starting guard to start the season. That's what I believe.
I
And
think
wouldn't do
logically,
it. I wouldn't take a guard
right.
at 10,
I get your
especially 'cause I
point,
don't
yeah.
think he's going to be a long-term tackle, even though some do. But I don't think they take him at 10 unless he's starting at guard.
I think logically you're probably right. I think if we're being completely like removing all previous thoughts, the player you take at 10, you would think is going to be a starter right away. But let me ask you this, and maybe we'll get into this with a player in a minute. Would that same logic apply to corner?
No, but again,
Okay.
but we're talking about Cam Jurgens versus Slate and Bradbury and Maddox.
True.
You know what I mean? Guys who are much more proven in the league. Like Jurgens might not be able to. We have no idea. Like you're one who's.
I know, I agree with that.
I
yeah.
know. So I'm
But we
saying,
also don't know about Skoronski.
we don't. My
Yeah.
point is, I don't think they will take Skoronski, but I think if they do take Skoronski, it is a sign that they don't feel super comfortable because that's part of the equation for them, in my opinion.
Right. So Jack Fritz tweeted this earlier and just completely butchered it.
He
But
butchered it.
Just it was
Wait.
poorly done job.
Yeah.
Some people talk Philly, some talk Eagles. There's a few different types of.
Yes!
Some people do both, like you. But
Yes.
Um,
Well done.
so if
I
you
love
look
that.
at-
Good work.
and some people are on the World Series DVD. Some people can do both. All
The
right.
funny thing is like high hopes, go Birds, obviously.
Right.
The two pods, my two buddies, best pals. Love
Yeah.
it. I'm very lucky.
It's a good setup.
But
for
it's
you.
funny whenever you'll take a shot at each other. Like when Jack takes a shot at you, I never worry about it because I know you're not gonna
Yeah.
go back and listen or whatever. I know that Jack's paying attention.
Oh, he's
Jack
probably
will
live
approach
streaming
them.
in the car right
I
now.
know.
He'll hear about it. It'll lead the next High Hopes.
Yeah, that will get brought up on the next
Yeah.
episode. Yeah. Exactly.
So, all right. So here's what I was going to say, though. So what Jack was trying to make the point, which he was right, is this idea that they constantly draft in the trenches. I don't think that's completely true when you look at it, right? So over the last 10 years of first-round picks, they've drafted an offensive lineman 3 times, right? They've drafted a receiver 3 times. I don't think anybody would sit here and go, well, the Eagles, we all know they really value the receiver position in
no,
the
and
draft.
you could argue 4 times because they traded for Brown.
Yeah,
as a
and
first-round
really,
pick away, too. They used the first round pick that year to trade for Brown, being like, they kind of used that
Right.
pick for a receiver.
right. So, yeah, you're right. So ultimately, defensive line 3 times. So if you want to say overall the trenches 6 times in 10 years, like that is the majority. But ultimately, when it comes to offensive line, they have shown they don't super prioritize that in the draft. So I think that goes against the Skoronski thing because he's not an elite athlete. And it's a position where I think they've shown and they've learned firsthand and proven they can draft and develop at that position.
Of course,
Right?
it's
So-
Stoutland. That's
and-
my whole argument this whole time has been like, why are you taking the technician guy when you take a guy in the second round
Right.
who Stoutland will turn into the technician
And
guy?
I look, Skoronski is not as old as Danny Watkins, but I feel like when I hear about him and I look at him, I see Danny
It's
Watkins.
very different. I mean, completely different football players.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm
I mean,
just saying
Danny
in
Watkins
terms
has
of
played like a year of footballs. Peter Skoronski's like Mr. Football guy.
But
Peter
well,
Skoronski's
what I'm saying is
grandfather
in
played
terms
for
of
Lombardi for Christ's
them being close to their ceiling already. Because Danny Watkins was older. Skoronski to
I
me
guess,
feels
I
like
guess so. I guess
a
I get what
high
you're saying.
floor, low ceiling. to
I
me.
get that. That's a good way.
Okay,
That's fair.
Paris Johnson.
I think better odds than Skoronski. I saw a little smirk
Well,
there.
I think Skoronski would have better odds because I think Paris Johnson's going to be gone.
Oh, I do too.
So the question is,
Oh,
are they
I
going to
see. How
trade?
much
You
are
know,
we
that's
like-
what I mean. Like,
So I was just looking at this, like if they're there at 10, how likely would it be if the Eagles pick them, type of thing.
oh, so I was
You're
looking
right.
at the
No,
chance.
that's a really
Because then
good
with like
point.
Jalen Carter, Will
So
Anderson,
you're
they
right.
have to be
You're right.
long.
You're right. Okay, that's right. So then, yeah, it should be higher because I do think Paris Johnson will go before the Eagles. So like plus 1,000, I guess.
I was going to say plus 900.
Sure.
I think that's fair, right? Because I think
Cool.
that what's really interesting, would they trade up for him? That would be wild. If they trade up from
If they
10 to
trade
8
up
and
for
everybody's like,
him-
they're going for it, whatever.
Can
And
you
then
imagine?
it's Paris
Can
Johnson.
you imagine?
I can,
Jalen Carter and Paris Johnson are on the board.
Oh
They
my
trade-
I can just hear Howie after the draft. Like, look, we're going to talk about building through the lines and, we're going to have to do it.
Oh.
All right, next up, your boy. You were first on this. The flag planter, Nolan Smith.
Thank you, because you know what? It's the
Well,
thing.
someone else did it today,
The
too.
camera.
Yeah, the
Of
camera
course,
did.
like,
Yeah,
bro.
I saw on Twitter.
Like,
Yeah.
bro. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
It's just
man.
disrespectful.
It is disrespectful. No credit. It's just
Yeah.
like I didn't even say it. It didn't even matter.
Yeah,
Not listening to the most popular show on WIP on Saturdays. No big
agreed. Yeah,
deal. Whatever.
100%.
No big deal.
You're like plus 2,000.
Plus 250.
What? Plus 250?
I think
Well-
it's going to be the pick. Those are my personal odds. It should
No, I
probably
get
be
it,
a little
yeah.
higher, but if I had to pick one person, plus 250 is a lot, probably a little low. Like
Well,
plus
here would be my
300.
argument for you.
What we put Bijan?
I think
Plus
there's a-
500.
I think there's a good chance Nolan Smith is on the board,
Yeah.
which helps your odds.
It all helps. Plus 350 then, whatever. My point is, for me, Nolan Smith is going to have the best odds of everyone because he's the player I think is going to get drafted.
So I do not think he will be the pick. I think Bijan will be.
Yes.
But here's why I think he probably
Where
deserves.
would he be on your list of if you went all right?
He's number 2.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good. All right, so we're on the same page.
So and he's number 2 for the reason of I think he plays like a need for them in a way. But also he'll be on the board probably. I mean, maybe 8 or 9 he's there, but if they like him, that's a very small move up if they want
he
him.
fits all the stuff that people, the Howie stuff, whether it's Bijan
100%
or him,
unique ability in a way, So I mean, plus 350 is probably going to make him a pretty heavy favorite for what it's worth.
So we can make him not that. I mean, but
Bijan plus 500, but I know deep down you don't believe that.
I don't. I'm saying I would. So fight me on it. You want to make Nolan Smith a little higher? That's fine. I mean, should they both be co-favorites at plus 500?
Well, the problem with this is my prediction is Bijan, but I'm accepting him as number 2.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Why don't we make them co-favorites? We'll make them. How about we'll move Bijan up there plus 400 for both. Trade back in. How about that?
I feel like I'm wrong about the Bijan plus 400, but okay. All right. Do you want to keep going, or you got a little something you guys?
I got a little something I want to say, and it has to do with what we're talking about here. Download the BetParks app. I mean, what are we doing here? I'm going back to what are we doing here?
Yeah.
That's my go-to for a while.
Well, because, and I've said this before, with a lot of pods you listen to, you'll listen to ads, and it's just literally the same thing every time. When we bring up the same thing every time, it's because we feel it.
Yeah.
It's not a script. It's not something they've told us to say. When we start off and say, what are you doing not downloading the Parks app? It's because it's the first thing that comes to our mind. It's a genuine feeling from us. And like we've said, if you say you're an auto downloader, we love it. People come up to us and say that. If you show us the Parks app,
buddy,
that is basically saying you are an auto downloader while also showing you've taken your commitment to the next level.
That's exactly right. And again, to yesterday's point, if you want a James Seltzer hug, I don't know if everyone wants it. I mean,
missing
I
out
on it. If you show me the Parks app, I'll give you a hug.
There it is.
I'll give you a good
point
one.
Blank period. You know what the odds are on a hug from James if you show him the Bet Parks app? Like minus $1 billion. They're not even taking bets.
It's off the board.
Exactly.
They're not even betting.
It's done.
On it. You can't bet on that in the Bet Parks app.
Yes.
But what you can bet on is everything else going on right now, which is amazing. We got Pro Hoops playoffs, which at the end of this pod, we'll get into a little Sixers talk before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Baseball in full action. A lot of money can be made there. By the way, live in-game betting for both of these sports. I had a buddy who bet Atlanta when they were down last night. It was like plus 1,200 or something. In the moment, it's like, bang!
Well, I told you about the plus 1,300.
Yes,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
Didn't bet it, but
exactly.
Would have been fun.
Would have been fun. There are real opportunities to be had with this stuff.
And this is why I always say, it's a good app to have to watch games with.
Exactly.
Even if you're not going to completely bet, but just to watch with. Because I'm watching
for what's happening.
When I saw they were plus 1,300, I was like, oh, this thing's definitely over.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't.
It was not.
Trae Young.
What a shot.
What a shot.
Yeah.
I was
so sure he was going to miss
like
that shot.
33 feet away.
I was so sure. The second he took it, I was like, there's no way.
Bang.
Yeah.
So that's the beautiful thing. Imagine you had the Hawks money line there with the Bet Parks app.
Whew.
And you watch that shot. You're jumping around your house. You're going wild. It's like you just watched the Sixers won. That's why it's so much fun, because we're watching this stuff anyway. You get to have some action on it. You can bet on everything, play performances, more than score, the whole thing. And here's the deal. All new users, if you bet $10, you get $125 in sportsbook bonus if your first bet is a winner. BetParks.com has all the terms and conditions. New users are winning bets only. Sports bonus bet must be wagered once. See website for details. Must be 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. For Ohio gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That last part is a script.
It is. Although I feel like you almost have it at this point.
I do. Yeah. I do. I look at it sometimes just so I don't mess it up. Yes, I've said it a few times.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get back to it. Let's move on.
Speaking of sleep, do you ever have a bad dream and wake up in a bad mood? Like, would you say your dreams impact your mood when you wake up?
Okay, so this might shock you. Might shock many people. Honestly, I'm trying to think honestly. I can probably remember 1 or 2 dreams over the last decade.
Wow.
I sleep like I'm dead. And then I wake up and I remember, I know I'm dreaming. I know that happens. I remember zero of my dreams.
I dream so vividly.
So I have a buddy, Tommy, my buddy Tommy. You've hung out before, our neighbor Tom.
Yes.
He has talked to me about this before. He is a really vivid dream.
Yeah, me too.
Where it's almost alarming, where he wakes up and he's thinks he's still in the dream and that kind of stuff. I never have that.
I wake up. There's times where I'll wake up and I have to say to myself, Elliot, you're not in a bad mood.
Wow.
You just had a dream.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes Kristen catches the brunt of that sometimes.
So Emily tells me that I make weird noises in my sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be doing she said the other night I was just feeling ow,
Well, so you're clearly
How?
well. That's crazy.
I'm dreaming.
I mean, that's absurd.
I
You're
know.
you're obviously dreaming.
I'm
then.
dreaming, but
And it sounds like you're dreaming about something not
I
great.
woke up and remembered 0.
Wow, it's
So-
got to be frustrating for Emily because I feel like if you hear that noise in your sleep, you must be like, "What's going on here?"
What's wrong with you?
All right,
Of course, she did nothing about it. She just told me about it the next day. So
Right.
I gave him that alarm.
okay.
It was more like, hey, shut up and let me sleep, is my guess.
Speaking of shut up and don't draft this guy,
Oh, what a segue.
Luke Van
Best in the
Ness.
business. Oh my God. Plus
But let's
10
be-
million.
Let's be
No,
honest
yeah.
here on what we think the
Yeah,
real
odds wise, really. I mean, he's probably higher than some of the guys we talked about, odds wise.
because he'll be on the board at 10.
He will be on the board at 10.
And he's
fits the
also a
position
trade back
of the
option
need.
potentially. Some
Yeah.
mock drafts have him going in the 20s.
Yeah, he's a dude who, fits right into what they do.
He
and
slides
what they
into the
need.
inside.
3-4 tech, can
Right.
play that
3-4,
3-4 DN
4-3.
type of guy.
They love the NASCAR package.
yeah.
More football terms here.
More football terms.
Right.
Have you got any others?
No.
Why not? Oh wait, never mind.
Well, he can run
Uh,
stunts.
Oh, he's a stunts
You like
guy.
that?
I
Yeah.
do like that. I'm a big
Thank you.
stunts guy.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think there's a real chance. I just don't like it. I'll say plus 750. Is that a fair?
Yeah. I was going to say
fair.
plus 600, but that was probably a little more
A
optimal.
little more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
plus
750 is fair. Okay.
God, it's gonna be such a depressing draft call when they have it. And then it'll be hilarious when he's like defensive.
Well, so here was what I would say.
Just
If
log
they
it in.
draft Luke Van Ness,
log it in.
I think we have to promise ourselves, and as a favor to the listeners, we will do a pod on him and we will complain at first, but then we'll have an objective look at him.
Yes.
We will be-
Same with
yes.
Skaronski, right? Can you agree to that?
I cannot agree to that. I can't.
You were just gonna call him Scolari though.
Yeah, exactly. We have to get like a Eagles Scolari jersey.
That'll be that. It'll be great when the title of the pod is Eagles actually.
And
drafted
everyone's like,
Scolari.
Elliot, learn names, which I should, but that is what people will say. Okay.
All right.
Christian Gonzalez.
I don't think they're going to draft a cornerback. I think it's possible, and I do think of the 2 cornerbacks we'll probably talk about, he's the more likely one to be on the board. I think
so
Witherspoon goes
too,
before him, so I'll give the odds a little lower than I would give Witherspoon. I'll say plus 1,200.
Okay, so I wrote down plus 1,000, thinking that would be long, but I agree because I think there's a way better chance it's Paris Johnson than it is Christian
Yeah,
Gonzalez.
I agree.
So plus 1,200. I think that while it is a long-term need, I just don't think they would bring back Slam Bradbury if they thought there was a real chance they drafted one of these guys.
Sure.
So I think the moves show you their opinion of them.
Maybe again because they brought Sam back. Like they probably did research on these guys before, but they didn't do the
Yeah.
combine yet when they made the decision. Or they asked the combine out, but not the
The
other-
combine happened,
but
right.
not like the
Not the
deep
in-person
dives, the
stuff.
in-person.
But a lot of the homework
They
is
give
done.
you a general feel, but also I don't think they're making a decision on that. Like I don't think
Well, I think the decision is
look, first year cornerbacks rarely play well. Like Sauce Gardner is like the exception.
really, I was
to all the
wondering
rules.
about that. 'Cause it
It's
doesn't.
like, why
Surtain was really good right away.
Surtain was.
Was
It's
J.C.
happened-
Horn good?
J.C. Horn was hurt.
Yes, you're right about that. Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey was good. Like it happens more than it used to. When we were growing up, it was like, oh, corners aren't good.
We.
All right, we're not.
I'm just kidding.
When I was growing up,
Yeah.
back in the 30s,
Yeah. When
back in,
whatever some old Eagles
back
corner
when
is.
swing dance.
I was
was
gonna say
popular, yes.
Steve Van
Yeah,
Buren or
yes,
whatever. I
yes.
don't know.
Back when, that
He
when
probably
Norm-
played
back
corner,
when
running
Norm
back,
Van
corner.
Brocklin was out
Exactly.
there
Yeah.
doing his thing.
Yeah.
Your favorite, Concrete Charlie. You was
Yeah.
Rushmore. I
Brett Toth up there. Toth of the-
yeah, I don't even remember what point I was. I guess.
Cornerbacks don't play well early.
Yes. So either way, I agree with you. I don't think they're taking a cornerback, but I don't think that bringing Slade back means they would.
So
Or that they were
I
definitely going.
I
down.
see your point. I just differ a little where I think the moves show to an extent that they either A, don't think these guys are as good, or B, don't think they can play right away.
It's possible. Look, it's certainly possible.
All right, so Devin Witherspoon next. I think he would have to be over then, right?
Yeah, he'd be like plus 15,
15,
'cause
16.
He's going to go early.
I think he'll go early. I think that's obviously something we've seen with recent reporting. Now, again,
Who knows? With
but-
the reporting, but
yeah, he feels like a trade up guy.
I agree.
And I don't think they traded up for him.
No.
All right. So speaking of trade up guys, this is actually perfect timing. Jalen Carter.
So I think he's the most likely player they trade up for, and I think he is of all the top guys, the only one that has any chance to fall to 10. I don't think he will, but I think he's the only one who has a chance.
I would agree with that.
So
I do not think Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson are falling to 10.
right. I think the odds are better than the cornerbacks. I would say not much better. I would put him in the Paris Johnson. I think plus 1,000 is fair for Carter.
I'm really conflicted about
You
this.
think it should be longer?
Yeah.
You don't think they're ending up with Jalen Carter?
I don't think they're going to take him. But,
Like, it'd be like just like how
based off what I know
now, these like, oh,
right,
we're not
it
that
just
interested in that, and then he trades up and gets Carter.
It just makes so much sense.
It's such an obvious.
That's what I mean. If we want to, I can make I can beat the Bijan drum, but at the end of the day, Jalen Carter
is the most Howie player.
Is the most Howie player, right? So that's why I actually think plus over 1,000 is probably a little long.
So even less,
just because
so plus 900.
He has two things going for him. One, he has a chance of falling further than people think.
Yep.
And two, whatever we think about whether they wouldn't, whatever, he checks the Howie boxes. Yep. So,
to the point you made prior to the draft, we talked about so much, like probably the single biggest area of need for a now and future player on this.
Besides running back. But yes.
An important position.
Well, I think it's pretty important. Okay. So let's decide here. What did you start?
Rashad Penny hate is real. It's real.
He's had, I looked this up today. Do you want to guess
10 games?
How many times in his career he's had over 100 carries in a season?
I mean, he's only played 10 games once.
Yeah, so
and
one
it's usually
time.
like 5 or 6. Yeah, so I'm sure he did.
It was one time in 5 years.
So obviously, but he is great when he plays.
Yeah, they said the same thing about Sam Bradford. Okay.
Yeah, but there have been other players who have. I can think of a lot of baseball where guys have really early injury.
Well, baseball you barely move, so I feel like it's probably easier. It's probably easier. Okay, so let's decide. Jalen Carter
plus 900. Is that fair?
So we have Paris Johnson at plus 900, Skoronski at plus 750, Luke Van Ness at plus 750. I think like plus 850. Well, I'll do the 900.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I'll go with 850. You want to go 850? I love how much you are like the anxiety
for
these fake numbers.
Plus 850.
Like this is like the end of the world if we get this wrong.
I know.
I appreciate
What's interesting is, we would have done Jordan Davis.
You care.
I care. I do. Last year, if we would have done Jordan Davis, we probably would have been like, I don't know, plus 150, plus 200.
Yeah. That was the guy we thought they were
so many people here are over plus 8.
Yeah, well, because this year again, last year
over
we 7. Knew what was going to happen.
We've done one player under 2 players under 700, and one of them is just to appease me with people.
It is pretty wild. No, it is. It is really, really wild. All right,
Will Anderson. Yeah, we just did 2 quick ones.
Okay.
I think this is like plus
2,000. Yeah.
The only counter I would make to making it higher is if the Eagles decide they want him and they want to package 30, I think that could happen.
Real quick, what would it take? Let's say quarterbacks go in the first 2 picks. Arizona's talked all about trading back. Let's say at the 3 spot.
I think you're looking at least 30, obviously 10.
Obviously 30. I'm saying how much more? 10 and 30 plus what? Could you get it with a third? Do you give it the second, or you give it up a future first?
I think a second gets it done.
Okay.
Because you're not going up for a quarterback.
So the point is you could keep
No.
You could keep all your future first and move up. I mean, bro, I'm not saying I wouldn't do that. That's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree with that.
I'm not saying I wouldn't.
The 30th pick barely exists.
Yeah.
And the second round pick is even more fictional. So now I'd rather give up a future second. I want to keep the second.
Yeah, they don't make picks.
Although if you tell me you end up with 1 pick in the first 2 rounds and it's Will Anderson,
it's like,
that's pretty good.
And to the point,
should we drop him for plus 2,000?
To the point you keep making that next year's draft deeper and stronger. They say, it's just
plus 1,700.
Yes, making 1,700. Right. I like it.
Tyree Wilson. I think this is someone that we just, and I'm going to self-criticize here, like self-evaluate. I think we're underselling the chance it could be him.
Dropped the ball on him.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think Jalen Carter, Will Anderson are big names.
Top 5, top 6 in like every mock draft for the most part.
But Will Anderson goes top 5.
No, he does, and we talk about trading up for him, right?
Yeah.
All right. So do you think there's a realistic possibility? Because there are people who like Tyree Wilson even better than Anderson, and that he has a higher ceiling. What was the quote someone had?
He's a swing for the fences.
Yeah, the double versus swing for the fences.
Which is a very Howie quote.
Yeah, it is.
Very Howie quote.
It is. So you're making like plus 2,000?
He also checks the box of they draft him and everyone's like, who?
Yeah.
Like he checks that box too.
Which is a big box.
We
call that the Marcus Smith box.
Yes, exactly. Although hopefully he's better than that.
Yeah, you think?
So we have Will Anderson at plus 1,700. I think Tyree Wilson probably belongs around there just because there's so much smoke about him going 2. So I would say.
Okay.
Plus 17.
I like it. All right. So we both made our predictions. You're predicting Bijan.
I'm going to stick with Bijan. Going down.
Do you want to make a prediction for 30 just for S's and G's?
I mean, honestly, if I'm doing this where I'm not letting the second one, my first choice impact the second one, I think Gibbs is a really
Well, I was
too.
going to say Gibbs, but mine
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense if you're
It
going
does.
Nolan Smith and Gibbs.
Right, but
John
when you're
Gibbs.
doing this, you can't say
How about Brian Branch? That's another name that's been around.
I don't know. Maybe, but I think that Deontay Banks out of Maryland. Maybe he's a corner that is going to go around there. People like him. You're not, he checks the developmental box type of thing in terms of waiting a year or two.
Lucas Van Ness at 30.
Maybe. All right. So do you want me to recap real quick?
Yes.
Bijan plus 400, Skoronski plus 750, Paris Johnson plus 900, Nolan Smith plus 350. So we're in agreement that he's maybe the most likely pick. Luke Van Ness plus 750, Christian Gonzalez plus 1,200, Devin Witherspoon plus 1,500, Jalen Carter plus 850, Will Anderson plus 1,700, Tyree Wilson plus 1,700.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a good list.
I think so too. So I'll be excited to see when they take somebody else.
Yeah, dude. But get ready for
It'd be a major miss by us if we listed 10 options at number 10
and none of
them were the pick.
Yeah. But
I don't even know who else it would be. Oh, well, Miles Murphy was the one
Miles
we had.
Murphy, Darnell Wright, wouldn't be the most shocking thing ever.
Yeah.
They're like, no, this is actually the tackle we
The
like.
Georgia tackle, his name I can't remember right now.
Yeah, I don't remember out either.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
So we'll
Joey
find-
Porter Jr., I guess.
Yeah, it feels like he's fallen.
It is, but again, this is mock drafts, right?
Right.
Who the hell knows?
And Howie said there will be players in this draft that we feel strongly about that other people don't.
Yeah. All right. Last thing before we get out of here, for those who don't know, check out Clap Your Hands.
Check them out, please.
It's Elliot's Pod with Kyle
Newbeck,
talking
yes.
Sixers, my guy.
Kyle with all the
You're
latest
saying
on
I have 2
Embiid.
pods. You have 2 pods too.
I know.
Look at you.
We're pod people.
Check out the pod if you're a Sixer fan, which you probably are, 'cause you're an Eagles fan, and most of us are 4 for 4. Elliot, before we get out of here,
I'm pulling up the odds.
your betting thoughts. Yeah, pull up the odds. I'll give you a second here. Obviously, Sixers only team to sweep in the first round. Look great, get the job done, and then of course, just like on cue, as if we just predicted it, Embiid injury.
Yeah.
Every year in the playoffs. LCL looks like could be back for the start of the next series. Might not. We'll see. He's definitely going to play through it at some point. It would appear.
Wearing a knee brace.
I know the Hawks won last night, but I still think the Celtics.
I
will
do
get it
too,
done.
yeah.
I think it'll be Sixers Celtics starting Monday night. Your thoughts?
So Sixers are plus 700 to win it all right now. I think it was plus 1,000 the last time we talked.
By the way, the Bucks part of it, and talking about winning it all, the Bucks part of it is a very important piece.
Yeah, and they're down 3-1, right? Yeah. So my read, if I remove emotion from this and I say if the way that this was being discussed about another player, like if this was discussed about Tatum or Giannis, I would think that Embiid is not playing game 1 and might even miss game 2. Would be my read on it of just what is being said. When you hear like the John Clark report.
John Clock.
Thank you. Yeah.
Big fan
Could have
of
been
clocks.
worse. Yeah.
It could have been.
Could have been worse.
Take one more letter
Exactly.
out. We got a
Yeah.
whole issue.
You got a lot of earmuffs going on.
Let me put it this way. I've changed clock to that on the air by mistake. Much better to do it on a podcast.
Well, let me tell you, James Bradbury on the Players Lounge was talking about milking the clock at the end of a game.
Oh, no.
Forgot the L part of that
Oh, no.
and just kept it moving. He corrected himself actually quickly, and it was just.
Oh my God, that's
I
the
know.
best one ever.
Let me tell you, I've been on the air.
Oh my God.
I don't know, 1,000 hours is strong, but I've been on the air a lot. It's the closest I've ever come to having to walk off. And thankfully, Ike was with me, and he just kept it moving. He like kept it, and
that's so
I had to
good.
look away and look down because once you think about laughing, it's
yeah.
Anyway,
It's
that was
great.
way off topic, but
That was worth it. That was the best thing. The best part of the pod right there.
yeah, I think if Embiid was fully healthy, they would have beaten the Celtics, and I think they still have a chance. And I'll still pick them because I'm just going to choose to believe. But I think the Embiid injury is bad.
That's what we call hashtag analysis.
Exactly,
Right
yeah.
there, yes.
I think that I think that the Embiid injury is bad, in my opinion.
Really?
No, but I'm not bad as in obviously it is bad for the
You
team.
mean it's just bad in general?
I'm not. When this was first reported, I thought it was just
No big
lying.
deal.
Yeah.
So now you think it's
Now I think this is short of him tearing his ACL or whatever, it's one of the worst things that could have happened. A knee injury, just so it's unfortunate. I've come around on Embiid a lot this year, but if he's hurt again in the playoffs and they lose, I don't know. Again, the question is not how good he is anymore. Before I was questioning how good he was. Now the question is, can he stay healthy? And I just don't know. Well, we might know. That's the sad part.
concerning, my friend.
Yes.
It's concerning.
Are you picking them to beat the Celtics?
I mean, I've never been at any point picking them to beat the Celtics.
Okay.
Like, again, I've said all season, beat the Celtics in the second round, and I'll believe you can beat the Celtics in the second round. Like, I just need to see it happen.
I think you're right.
I mean, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Celtics are really good. I know that Hawks are giving them a run.
Well, yeah, they're not playing well.
They're not.
Right.
No, you're right. They're not. Now they might have taken them a little lightly and all that stuff, but they are not. I agree with you. Quick thoughts, and we'll get out of here on the chances that the Heat actually close this out.
Well, what's crazy is I think the Bucks are like plus 150 to win the series.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I was
At least
just
it
trying
was
to
2
look it
days
up.
ago. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
was
it's
trying to
been
look it
bad
up.
yet. But
Because like
I mean, they're down 3-1.
I was hoping to be like plus 400. And I'd be
Yeah,
like, bet the Bucks to
I
win the
agree,
series.
but plus
That's a good
150.
bet. Yeah.
I think the Bucks probably still win the series.
Right.
Don't you? I mean,
do
Jimmy
too.
had to go out for 56. They were down like 13 in that game. They were
Yeah.
plus 1,300 to win it. It was a bit of a fluky win. The other wins were without Giannis. So, yeah, I mean, the Bucks will definitely win Game 5.
Oh, without a doubt.
And in my opinion,
in
they'll
Milwaukee.
definitely win Game 7. So really,
Yeah, it's can they go to Miami?
the Heat have one more chance. And
I
so
agree with you.
the real question is, can the Bucks beat the Heat once in Miami? Of course. So I would still pick the Bucks.
That,
But I think the Suns are going to win the title.
listen to clap your hands. You're in on the Suns.
Well, the East looks bad. Embiid's
East looks
hurt.
bad.
The Bucks are down
look, I
3-1.
thought Suns Bucks to start the playoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's. I mean, the Celtics are the favorite to win it. I believe, or they were. That might change after last night. Now
They
that
are on
Phoenix
this,
has
I
moved
believe.
on. Regardless.
Oh no, Celtics are still favorite at
Yeah,
plus
I thought they
210.
were.
Wow, not only are the Celtics a favorite, they're
like
plus
a clear
210,
favorite.
and the Suns are plus 400.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought the Celtics were.
That is pretty wild.
All right. Well, we will reconvene next week on that, and we'll talk about the Sixers Celtics series and how that's going and where our betting
Yes,
thoughts lie on that. But obviously, we're going to reconvene a lot sooner.
yeah, be a lot of pods.
Yeah, a lot of pods.
A
Come here.
lot of pods.
So Elliot will be on the stage all day tomorrow. We'll get all those up. We will have, depending on the pick, either
Yeah.
a super late night, and I'll just stay up and do my show and be
We'll
crushed
figure it out.
guy,
Right.
or if it's Lucas Van Ness or something, we'll talk to you at 10 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah.
Either way,
And then we'll obviously have,
yeah.
all the types of
Show on
things.
Saturday,
Yeah.
more pods, more interviews, all the good stuff. It'll be there. So auto download the pod and you get it all.
Oh, we forgot it.
I forgot. I just realized this.
It's okay.
Auto download the pod. If
One
you're-
for 10.
Elliot said it yesterday. If you ever want to help us out or do anything for us, that's all you got to do. That's it. We're not really asking for anything else. Just hit the auto download.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we ask.
All the free content. No big deal to us.
Thank you.
It's because we love you in reality. But if you want to love us too, that'd be nice.
Hit the auto download button.
Yeah.
And leave a
Tell us-
5-star review.
That's your way of telling us you love us.
Yes.
That's it. If you want to tell us you love us, auto download.
All right.
I know I made a fart noise there. I meant to go like, I did it again. There
Yeah,
you go.
it's okay.
2 farts down the
I think you
pod.
just need to wrap this bad boy up.
It's
Yeah.
been wrapped. All right. He's all him do.
Boom.
That was so funny.
That was good.
That was great.
Thank you, everybody.
Love everybody. You're the best. Seriously. Seriously.
Always the best.
You are the best. I mean a lot to me.
See you
Thank
guys.
you so much, guys.